Hi, Gaye DeRusso with the Majestic rider. So I talked about the step pace. Now I'm going to talk about the pace. The pace is a lateral gait, which means the legs on the same side are moving together. So right hind and right front would move together at the same time, okay? So the pace, because the legs are moving together, you have the right hind and the right front moving together, and then the left hind and the left front moving together, okay? As that horse moves, it will have 2 beats instead of 4 beats. So when we're trying to get our horses to gait and to be smooth, it's a 4-beat gait. And they will have anywhere from 2 to 3 legs on the ground at the same time. Okay, the more legs they have on the ground at the same time, usually the smoother the horse will be. With the pace, they will have 2 legs on the ground at the same time, but then a moment of suspension, and then 2 legs on the ground at the same time. So it's a 2-beat gait, and we want a 4-beat gait. Now the pace isn't all bad. The pace does help us to get some of those lateral gaits, like the flat walk, the running walk, the saddle gait, and the rack. We like to have some lateralness in our horses, or to say, when I talk lateral, it's similar talking about the pace. So we do like to have a little bit of paciness in the horse to help us to get those gaits, and it will make it smooth. But the thing we don't want to do is ride the horse at the pace. So let me explain that in a little bit more detail. So when a horse paces, it's moving the legs on the same side, so the right side together, forward and back. It's not lifting up and placing its legs down. It is swinging its legs. So it's not using its abdominal muscles, its back muscles. It's not engaging itself and using its hindquarters correctly. It's a lazy gait, and that's why the horses like to do it, because they can just swing their legs all day long, and it's very easy for them, and they can go quite fast doing it. And as you know, people and horses can be very lazy, and they'll do the easiest thing. Now, because they are not lifting their legs up, their feet stay closer to the ground. So they can do it for long periods of time, and it doesn't wear them out. The bad thing about it, though, is when they do not pick their feet up, they will catch more objects with their feet, and that can make the horses very trippy. The other problem with the pace is that if the horse does trip and that horse is very pacey, it is very awkward for the horse to try to catch itself. So its right front and right hind move together, and say it trips, then all of a sudden it's got to swing and bring those other legs on the other side up at the same time. And so some of those pacey horses will trip a lot, they won't catch themselves well, and they can tend to be a little bit clumsier and not so sure-footed. So if your horse paces, you can do many things to help it to get the gait. So one, you can watch my video on how to get a pacey horse to trot. Teaching that horse to trot will help square up its gait. It will make it more sure-footed. It will increase its conditioning and help to strengthen its back and its abdominal muscles, okay? With the pacey horse, a lot of those horses have poor top lines because they are not using their muscles. And when they pace, their head is up, their back is inverted, and they're just swinging those legs. That puts a lot of pressure on their neck, so it can make them more prone for arthritis in their neck, their spine, their lower spine, as well as in their SI joint, which is their sacroiliac joint, which is about here, and also in their hocks because of how much pressure is putting on them. So if you teach them to trot, that will help to square up the gait. If you get them using their muscles by taking them over poles, it will separate their legs, which helps to get away from the pace. It will also teach your horse to be more sure-footed because they will understand how to pick up their feet and put them down more because they've had to do them over poles, and it'll get them in better condition. Using all the lateral movements that I've talked about in the past, it's in some of my videos if you look up lateral movements, or you can look on my website. such as the legial, the shoulder in, the hindquarter in, serpentines. All those things will help to separate those horses' legs and to get them out of the pace. The other thing is, if you watch the video on the gaited spectrum, you'll see the pace is after most of the gait. So sometimes just slowing your horse down, collecting it some, and getting it to engage its back end will get the horse out of the pace. So again, the first thing you want to do in case you're new to gaited horses and your horse does gait well, you're going too fast, is just slow the horse down. If you slow the horse down, he's not pacing anymore. It's probably just user error, and you just need to learn how to ride that horse correctly and go slower. Horses' gaits will not be as fast as the pace or the trot unless they've had lots of training over the years. So unless you have a speed breaker, that's different. But otherwise, your running walk, your saddle gait, and your foxtrot are going to be in between the trot and the pace. So if you're trotting or pacing, you're probably going too fast and you just want to slow it down some. So again, we like a little pace, but we don't like to ride the pace because it's uncomfortable. And some of the horses really have a hard bounce when you do it, and you can't really post to it. And again, it's not good for them. So I wouldn't post to it. I would retrain the horse how to gait and then ride them correctly so they stay in gait the whole time. The biggest error I see with the pace is that even if people are working on the horse's gaits, they ride with their friends ride really fast, they can't keep up, and so they pace. Even if you work on your horse's gait for 3 months and then you go out and ride with your friends and you pace the whole time, when you get back, that horse is just going to want to pace again. So if you're going to fix it, you need to stop pacing, okay? So no more pacing. It's fine when the horse is loose. When you're not riding it, it's natural for the horse, that is fine. But if you don't want the horse to pace under saddle anymore, you cannot let them pace. Every time they pace, you either want to go over a pole, do a lateral movement, or stop, back up. And when you back up, make it difficult. So back up 5 to 10 steps and then immediately go forward again. The reason you're doing that is the backup is hard for the horse, but it also gets to them to engage their back end. So when you go forward, a lot of times it will help them get out of the pace. And remember, when you're teaching your horse, anytime that horse gets rest, the horse thinks, I want to do that again because I got rest. So when they gait well and you stop, reward them and scratch them, they go, I want to do that again because when I do it, she gives me rest and then I'm very happy inside. But if you do that when the horse paces, say you're riding and your horse is pacing, you're like, I am so frustrated, I just want to get off. You stop, get off, that rewards the horse for doing the pace, and therefore the horse paces more. So you want to associate the pace with more work, not less work, okay? So say it again, associate the pace with more work, not less work, and associate the gait with less work, not more work, okay? Now, you might say, well, if I keep stopping, how's the horse going to know to keep gaiting? Well, in time, you kind of trick them and you do more and more. Okay, it's just like you getting a new job. They give you these little bonuses. They get you in there with a bonus. And then over time, they don't give you so many bonuses and they don't give you raises anymore, but you're working your butt off. That's the same way that we do it to the horses, is we get them to gait well. We reward them a lot in the beginning. And once they do it, then we start gaiting more and more and more. And then they get in better condition and then they're thinking, when do I get that reward? They'll get a reward. Don't worry about it. I know you all give them treats and hay and grain, and they'll get the reward in the end. But in the beginning, you got to kind of trick them into it. So you reward the gait, do not reward the pace. With the pace, give them more work to do. So if you have to stop to get them out of the pace, that's fine. You stop, back up, go forward again. They pace again, stop, back up more steps. Each time, keep adding more steps until the horse starts thinking, what do I have to do to stop her from backing me up over and over again? And once they give you a couple of steps, you stop and reward them, and you do it over and over again. And that's how you're going to get them out of the pace. But I have heard some people go, I don't mind pacing. It's not that uncomfortable. Who cares? Don't worry about it. I just want to go fast. Well, just remember, it makes them more trippy. It's not good for their top line. It's bad for their back and their hocks in the long run because they're carrying us on top of them while they're doing it. It's different when they're running loose doing it, okay? So it makes them trippy. It makes them not so sure-footed, and it gives them a bad top line. In the end, you want to teach your horse not to pace, okay? Pacing is not good under saddle. Teach them not to pace, teach them to gait, reward the try, and give them more work when they're trying to pace. Okay, hope that helps.
Good. Keep stretching up. Good. Right heel down. Little half halt there. Then keep pushing. Good. Shoulders back, chest up, left heel down. Your upper body looks good. Your speed's good. Bring his, good. Now it's much better with his head. Good. Anytime it's down, relax a little bit just so you're not pulling the whole time. Make that head coming down a good thing for him. Good.